Hey guys, Thomas Silva Jr. here, aka Mustached Tom, and I'm here to review the movie Roald Dahl's Matilda the Musical. And if you're not enjoying this full review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my petition tab about smaller YouTubers. Second and third to my Patreon and PayPal, where you can help support me and my channel directly. And fourth, to my Discord server, where you can join, collab, and share your content for free. And chilling will be reminded at the end of the review. With all that out of the way, let's get into Matilda, the musical. Alright, so I have not seen any trailers for this. So I abruptly came across it, had heard nothing about it, though I do know that it is a remake of a movie, of Matilda, which is a movie I decided to rewatch after seeing this movie, just to see how close it was to the original movie. And I will say it is pretty, has pretty one-to-one, or close to, it's a fairly strong remake, I would say, in that regard, of what the original's intent was and what is represented here, with the addition of it being a musical. So that's something new as an element to this movie. And I will say, the musical numbers in this were pretty interesting. They're very Broadway-esque, and that is not a critique, that is a compliment, if anything. They keep it very busy, which is very in theme of what is going on. So the first song that kicks off the movie is us showing the baby, the hospital where all the babies are, and the babies children are singing for the babies, I should say, as they are talking about what they would want to be when they grow up. And the adults who are looking over, of course, coddling children, all thinking that their children are the best children. But there is the two parents that are responsible for Matilda, who are not too happy, and the woman is even like, I don't even think I'm pregnant, and they're just like looking at her like, yeah, your belly says otherwise. And in this movie, one segment they do cut out is her having a older sibling, which through, the means of watching the original, I would say the brother doesn't add too much from the original movie. He seems to be a pest that learns, slightly stuff from his dad, which he's a crook and a criminal anyway, but, anyway. I think that is actually, again, an improvement, a removal of a character that isn't too consequential to the overall plot, is what I'm trying to get at here. So, as we are continuing our little song, the doc sings about how he's happy that this is his job of bringing new babies into this world. And we see that the dad was upset that they got a girl, because the gender of the balloons was blue. Uh-oh, gender theory existing. Oh no! It's almost as if gender is socially constructed, and we associated a long time ago that blue was the color for boys and pink was the color for girls. Uh-oh, that's a theory, though. Oh, no! If you don't know what I'm making fun of, that should be pretty obvious what I'm making fun of, but I'm not even going to spell it out for you. I'll let your creativity get you to the solution that should be pretty obvious. That people who think gender theory is a good defense against why gender and all of its beautiful expressions are a theory in the first place is utterly stupid and ludicrous. Anyway, so now that they've got a girl on their hands, we cut to her being older, significantly faster here, so she's already on top of the van, she's just chilling, not at her house, so that already gives us a hint to what her parents are sort of like, outside of, the earlier sequence. This is just reinforcement that she doesn't want to hang around home. And they are saying that they're arguing because they're homeschooling her, and she doesn't want to be homeschooled. AKA, they're grooming her. I used that word in a positive context and a negative context simultaneously? Oh my god. It's almost like I can do that, because that's actually what the word also means. Oh my god. Anyway, one of her potential teachers, Miss Honey, visits her, and the parents as well, and says that she wants to provide Matilda the opportunity to go to public school. After her exiting, the dad punishes her for something rather minute. And when she's off going upstairs, she sings about wanting to change her fate. And as we see that she is going to be going to that new school, she imagines herself, or she imagines a story with a better couple looking after her. I'm going to put that in quotes for now. As she's telling this little story to the bookseller who she keeps visiting pretty sequentially through the film, who seems to be getting enchanted by Matilda's ability to tell such vivid stories. So, as they make their way to school, a red-haired girl, or a girl with a red hat, I should say, not haired, hatted girl, sings about how they, along with her and one of the other new girls, are making their way in, and she's sort of giving them the lowdown. And again, through visually storytelling and the very minutia of this song is going through the alphabet in a unique way. Not every alphabet letter matches one for one, like the word begins with the letter, but it's so close that I would still give this movie credit for going through that long process. Anyway, so Lavender, as I mentioned, is the other new girl I was referring to. I put it in my notes later. At any rate, as we see Matilda in school, she shows that she is quite a jib above the rest of the students, as like in the original. She solves an advanced math problem with, like, I believe it's like a 4-digit number and a 3-digit number, and they're only like at the 2-digit number, like at their level. So she's like 2 above. So this is where Miss Honey goes to the mistress or principal, but that's what they call her in this movie, the mistress. So the mistress proceeds to sing about how things need to be, stay in the line, or stay the way they are. As Matilda returns home, she is yelled at by her dad and proceeds to rip her book apart. And she reprises her earlier song about her fate, essentially. We then cut to the next day of school, where we're shown more students like Bruce, the eater of the cake, which is a scene from the original movie, and the introducing to the choke song, or choke song. I believe it's pronounced choke. I think that's how they pronounce it in the movie. I think that's another word for jail. If my interpretation of what they're referring to is that location, that little outhouse like interior building. Anyway, so the mistress heads outside and sees another girl, this little girl, Amanda, with pigtails. This happens in the original, where the mistress picks her up by her pigtails and tosses her like easy putty or something easy to throw. Point is that this movie gets as ridiculous as the first in that regard. This is about the time where Matilda gets another short segment where after the school, she's with the storyteller again, telling her about how the wife in this story couldn't get pregnant, and that her and the husband are this high-end, like, performing act. These are all clues and hints to something later on in the movie. We cut to the cafeteria, where Matilda hugs Honey after she tells her that she can that she's essentially going to help her out with better material and help her equate to where she is education-wise. However, through this little cafeteria scene, Boots gets caught in the process of the cake eating. So he's given the rest of the cake to eat, which again is what happens in the original movie, and the others instead this time sing about it. Some doubt that he can, and some think that he can, so it's a bit split. As again, the creativity of their movements is very similar to Hamilton in terms of like this rotating these rotating rings that they have in the movie for the performances. I don't know why I think of Hamilton. I think that the ring thing has been used before that movie, but I can't think of like another play off the top of my head that uses that again off the top of my head. Anyway, as he's eating, Matilda steps up and is among the ones supporting him, and he manages to achieve it. So after the fact, the kid starts to sing about what they're gonna do when they grow up. This is where Matilda, for the third time, finds the storyteller and tells her the sad story of how the mom died. And this time round, she couldn't finish it once again, saying that her own, story, because the librarian is starting to get worried for her safety, is saying that this is just a story and that her parents are good to her. This is where the parents get some more money, so they're all happy. We have little pranks along the way, which are also in the original, where Matilda glued his hat to his head, and the hair dye as well. The story continues at some point when she gets punished again. The dad about being there for her. But this time around, she sees that she's affected something after the fact of her story. So she's a little bit curious as to how that happened. So it's a little bit of a setup here. Anyway, the mistress, we cut to the mistress stopping one of her lessons. As she is the one who's going to instruct the kids today, So she drives and follows and instructs them through the rain and the muck. Lavender puts a mute in her tea. This is where Matilda yells back. And during this, it's like this very clever, like, singing montage through, or singing moment as well, as she's sort of in this moment observing just being yelled at. Her head's like in the clouds as she's singing up there in her head. But after the fact, she starts to pay attention and move the cup with her mind, and the mute gets back on the mistress. So this is where Matilda shows Miss Honey that she has some sort of telepathic power, which is again what was set up during her previous segment with the trash can. So Honey admits that the teachers are paid poorly because, of course, in every generation, including even to this day, teachers throughout every generation have always been paid poorly, even though teaching is the foundation of everything, or should be, but, you know, it's one of the worst funded things ever in our recorded history. So that should tell you everything about America. You're welcome. Anyway, Honey sings about how her small little home is where she likes to be, and she's comforted in knowing that she at least has these walls and the things that are within these walls. So Matilda, through processing, now sees that the story she's been telling has been Honey's story this entire time. There, after the fact, she proceeds to break the Choky prison place. But her own parents have lost money to the mafia. So the parents are gonna want to leave. But on her way to school, she continues to practicing her telepathic powers. Here, the mistress puts the kids through the ringer, forcing them through a spelling bee. And if they spell a word wrong, they will be sentenced with these more. She built more Choky prisons throughout this area in this one room. So the kids thought that they won over by having the one break, but she made more. Despite that, when a kid is asked an impossible to spell word, even the mistress says there are letters in the word that are like silent, and like it's like this super long, probably either non-existing word, or maybe it might, but I would have no clue. It's like a ridiculous thing anyway. But when this particular one student gets it wrong, according to the mistress, other kids step up and start misspelling other words on purpose, so that each of them, they think, because it's not been revealed to them yet, that each area of this area has its own little Choky, so they think that they can get away with all misspelling the words, but this is where the mistress reveals that she has made just enough prisons or Chokys to imprison each of them. However, again, Matilda has already been improving her powers, so she is able to move several chains in this area, and she eventually drops her outside. So the kids sing in revolt. This is where her parents get to her and they're like, we gotta get out of here. but Honey suggests that she essentially adopt her at this point of the movie. This is where Matilda uses her own powers to help her dad finally get that hat off of him. And this is the first time in the movie where, because throughout every time she returns home, even I did it, he keeps referring to her as a him throughout the entire movie, and it's the first time that the father calls Matilda his daughter. Oh my god, I got all mixed up there, but whatever, it's fine. For the first time in the movie. So she's finally a little bit happy that at least he acknowledged that. Oh my god, pronouns matter to a girl? Oh my god, pronouns matter. Look at that. It's almost as if I'm making the second joke of that ilk in the same movie review. Anyway, as she reports back to her librarian, she offers up this happy ending that coincides with her truly getting her happy ending with Miss Honey adopting her, like through legal means and the paperwork, because that's something that's going to be, handled. And she takes over the school as it changes for the better. And in quite a drastic way, too. Like, they have all this crazy stuff there now. And that was Matilda, the musical. And, seeing the remake and then the original, I would say, again, this is really, really close to the original source material. I think there might also be a book based off of this story, ? I'm not entirely sure about that, but as far as the movie comparison goes, I would say it's pretty close, with the addition of the musical numbers. And again, the music consistently fits in with what is happening. Like when the children are more imprisoned in the school earlier, all of their movements are very jointed and very puppeted almost, and when they are freed, you see them exploring the school outward and openly, waving and, frolicking, when, the creativity of her sort of thinking outside of her mind when the mistress is yelling at her and she's like in the clouds singing. All of these little clever moments to get a really interesting look at a musical number are all present in this movie. So I will say I am presently surprised by this movie. Again, in comparison to the original, I would probably say I actually enjoyed it more than the original movie. So I think this remake did its job, to the best of its degree. I think it's, again, better than the original movie in that way. So I'm going to go ahead and give this movie a 9 out of 10. And if you ended up enjoying this review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my petition, second and third to my Patreon and PayPal where you can help support me and my channel, and fourth to my Discord server. Any and all donations are greatly appreciated, and until next time everyone, bye bye.